Watch out for cannibals and bad acting.
Oh my god, I didn't kill anyone!
Bruh.
Because we have the worst show ever about people stuck on an island. And I've seen the ending of Lost. Netflix's The Island is the worst thing to happen to an island since Fire Festival. Currently sitting at 3.8 on IMDb, which is just slightly higher than my Uber rating. So you know I had to take one for the team and watch this train wreck. The show begins with this woman, Chase, washed upon the shore of a deserted island. It's only a matter of time before she meets Blue Crush, and instead of them being like, hey, oh my god, what happened, are you okay? She immediately gets a knife pulled on her. Every character being an absolute asshole for no reason when they should be working together to, I don't know, survive is a common occurrence on this show. Altogether, there are 10 castaways who immediately get to work at finding food and building shelter. Oh, they don't?
Come on, you losers, let's go swimming!
Or you could be like Taylor over here and decide to tan. At least when Shannon did it on Lost, she thought a rescue team would be hours away. Here, these guys have no idea where they are, how they got there, and their first priority is to have some fun. It's insane. I should also mention that this show throws in completely useless red herrings under the guise that it may be integral to the plot later on. Like this book Taylor digs up on the beach, Jules Verne's The Mysterious Island. You'd think that would come into play later on, but nope, it's useless, no idea why it's there. So Chase and this guy Brody decide to actually be smart and look for water, and they stumble across this waterfall. And let me just tell you guys, this scene is a masterclass of perfection. First of all, Brody suggests that the two of them don't tell the others about the water.
Maybe we shouldn't tell the others about this.
Secondly, you think the others won't be able to find this huge-ass waterfall that clearly is just a few minutes from the beach? Now listen to this.
But at least now we have some fresh water.
Yeah, and food.
I'm sorry, but you can't just get rid of the food problem by pointing into the jungle and saying, yeah, and food. Is there some magical food factory you didn't show us? The problem of food is one of the most important things to figure out when stranded on an island, and the writers here just blow it off with a throwaway line. We'll get to this a bit later with the origins of the mysterious bananas. And for no reason, Brody tries to, hold on guys, I can't use the R word. My last video which used it got demonetized. I'm not bitter about it. Anyway, let's just say Brody tries to violate Chase.
I was just playing around.
Are you fucking kidding me? Because, you know, the first thing you want to do when you're stranded on an island is to violate someone. So back on the beach, these idiots are swimming instead of making a shelter or being in any way productive when they're attacked by sharks, because, of course.
Oh shit!
So one of the castaways, Donovan, is eaten and they all just kind of go back with their lives. Brody tries to justify his actions.
I wasn't trying to
You weren't? Really?
I mean, there's no such thing like that in a place like this.
What the f***? And he returns to the beach with some items by himself, and Blue Crush is like,
Where'd you get all that stuff? Did that bitch find it?
You know, Chase isn't a bitch.
you just tried violating her 2 seconds ago. Now you're white knighting? Oh, and remember how he was like, let's not tell the others about the water? This is him now.
I think it's better if we work together as a team. Okay.
Okay. Chase arrives back at the beach and beats the shit out of Brody before storming off and finding Donovan's shark-bitten body on the beach. He's still alive and they bring him back, and then there's this insanely confusing explanation that each of their bodies when they washed up on shore was 39 steps apart from one another, and if you multiply that by 10, you get the distance to someplace on the island they didn't to go to. It doesn't make any sense, but the writers just thought it was cool to throw the number 39 everywhere because apparently it's the average number of steps from a jail cell to the electric chair. Oh yeah, everyone here is a prisoner on death row, and this is just a simulation. Spoiler alert. So get this, all the castaways decide to leave the guy dying from the shark bite to go on this stupid quest, which just ends up leading them to a sign that doesn't really help the plot at all. Like one of them couldn't stay back to make sure he was okay. Chase is frustrated that no one believes her that something weird is happening on this island, and when she's by herself, she finds an emergency raft floating out in the ocean. So she goes to retrieve it and, uh-oh, cuts her foot. So this idiot, knowing a dude was just bitten by a shark a few hours ago, decides to swim after the raft with this open bleeding wound.
Are we that stupid?
On the island, Blue Crush decides to hook up with Brody, the guy she was just warned sexual assaults people. Cause, okay. And how the fuck did this girl get a banana? Like, look at that thing, it's perfect. Should be in some Del Monte commercial. Chase tries to open one of the locked boxes from the raft, and God knows how she figured out the combination. Inside is a gun, and ooh, they will never find it hidden under this palm branch. More bananas. And this girl is making cute hats.
Is that a hat?
Yeah. You like it?
Yeah, that's great.
Avocado. Thanks.
Brody is found murdered on the beach, and guess who gets the blame? She's knocked unconscious and wakes up in a futuristic prison facility in Texas, where we find out that she's part of a simulation to see if death row inmates can be rehabilitated. We meet this absolute caricature of a prison warden who is so over the top it's hard to take him seriously.
Don't get up. I'll show myself out. Thank you. Thank you. Bitches!
Chase is returned to be put back in the simulation. She's able to escape, beat the crap out of several guards, and the warden isn't even reprimanded for this. So even though she's violent and later tries to throw a chair at the jury responsible for seeing if she's a good candidate to be rehabilitated, they let her back in the program anyway. She's taken into a truck to be sent back, and the guard just randomly decides to attack her. By the way, in the previous scene, we've seen her take out 4 trained guards by herself, but here there's only one dude watching her, and she's not even restrained. What jail are these guys running? Obviously, she gets away, only to find herself in this pod room where her and the others are being held for the simulation, and she gets caught. Back on the island, the others explain that she was only gone for 10 minutes, but in the real world, she was gone for hours. This is kind of weird since later on we see shots of the guards live streaming what's going on there, but how can they do that if time is so distorted? The castaways are introduced to Bonnie and Clyde, yes, those are their real names, who are basically rogue US Marshals under the command of Warden Wells to stir shit up in the simulation. Honestly, I'm still not sure what the point of these characters were really, but they tell the castaways to find the village on the other end of the island, which in retrospect plays no significant role in the plot. Clyde kills one of the castaways, Hayden, who we see have a flashback of her killing this guy and crossing his name off a list. It's explained later on in a throwaway line that Hayden was on death row because she was a vigilante killer who killed men who abused women, and heavily implied that she was the one who killed Brody after he abused Blue Crush. Is it all making sense now? Of course it is. I guess this is a good time to highlight how every character on the island had their memories erased, but yet the characters still know certain things that are convenient for the writers. Like Blair, who was a nurse in real life, is able to help Donovan even though she wouldn't remember that she was a nurse. Speaking of Blair, she was on death row for assisting in euthanasia, and when she talks to the doctor about one of the patients filing a do not resuscitate, this happens.
She told me she filed a do not resuscitate.
Well, we don't have it on file.
She doesn't want to live anymore.
That's really not our problem if the paperwork got lost.
I'm pretty sure it is. You're the hospital.
Enough.
Back at the beach, Donovan is running. Bitch, you just got bit by a shark. Taylor has had enough and steals the emergency raft to leave the island on her own, apparently without any food or water because everyone on this show is a dumb idiot. Chase does some investigating in a rundown resort they actually found in episode 2, yet none of them have decided to make this their shelter yet, and learns that her and Cooper used to be boyfriend-girlfriend in real life. I have no idea how Taylor got on this rock, but okay, let's go with it. And oh shit, she ain't doing so hot, but she seems to be enjoying it. It's here we get some insight into Blue Crush's character. And wait, is that the guy from Workaholics?
You know how this is gonna feel coming out?
Feast.
Probably not good.
It's gonna make our buttholes bleed.
It's actually her husband who straight up attacks her in front of her children. She ends up cheating on him, and when he finds out about it, says she'll never see her children again. So what does she do? Kill them! Bonnie and Clive have reinstated everyone's memories somehow, and Donovan suddenly becomes obsessed with Blair.
This place is fucking awesome. We could have a really great life here.
You just got bit by a shark. Apparently in his previous life, Donovan was an incel.
Can we talk?
No, now's not a good time.
Can I at least give you my flowers?
No, like I said, I'm married.
They're almost as pretty as you.
Denied.
So Mason uses the only flare they have to draw Donovan's attention away from Blair.
Why the fuck did you fire that flare gun? That's dumb. We've only got one flare.
But when Blair later uses the same gun to defend herself from Donovan, it magically has another bullet. Also, everyone in this damn show is so bad at hiding shit. Cool rack focus to a skull.
It's spooky.
where Taylor has found a bowl that says chicken soup. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I find a random bowl of chicken soup, I drink that shit. Bonnie and Clyde show up, no idea how they also got to this island, and they're about to kill Taylor when she says this line.
I was desperate. Just, can I, talk to your manager?
Bruh.
Anyways, they decide to let the cannibal on the island eat her. We don't even get to see the cannibal. I wish I saw the cannibal. That would be freaking cool.
Cannibal was fucking great.
Anyways, it was the cannibal who provided her with that soup, but it wasn't chicken, it was her fingers. Yeah, she didn't realize her fingers were missing. Blue Crush wakes up to find the village burning and is haunted by the ghosts of her children who she says she misses every day. Well, maybe you shouldn't have killed them then. Chase has a flashback to when she met Cooper in the Marines. Cooper asks her out in the middle of a mission, which leads to this.
I'm on point.
Cooper has his face half burned, but for some reason it's not burned in the simulation. Blue Crush, who stabbed herself in the real world, still has her stab wound in the simulation. Why doesn't Cooper have his burns? Oh, that's right, because the writers thought it would be a cool reveal later on in the season. Gotcha. We learn that Cooper killed Chase's overbearing mother after she wouldn't give them any money. But the thing I like about this flashback scene is that she's enjoying a nice glass of wine in her mansion in a dimly lit basement with a gun. This flashback gives Cooper some sort of PTSD and he accidentally kills Moses when he snaps out of it. But the only thing he can think of is remembering that he killed Chase's mom.
I shot her.
Her? No. You shot Moses.
Hello, there's a dying man here you just shot. They're attacked by Bonnie and Clyde, where Chase manages to kill Bonnie. But here's the weird thing. In episode 3, the warden tells us that if you die in the simulation, you die in real life. But we see Bonnie alive and well in the last episode. There's no logical consistency in this show. Chase is stabbed but is taken out of the simulation just in time where she awakens back in the prison. The jury heard Cooper's confession of murdering her mother, a crime she was on death row for, so now she's free to go. But the sheriff's job is in jeopardy because he was sabotaging the program, a sabotage which resulted in the deaths of several of the inmates. Before Chase can go, she attends this pointless scene with a therapist or lawyer, I don't know what she is, but she tells Chase the point of the simulation is to see if the inmates can achieve redemption. But then she goes on to say that they don't know what that looks like yet. So let me get this straight. You put people on an island, subject them to torture, and you don't even know when they're supposedly cured or not. What could go wrong? The warden convinces the nurse to commit murder by lethally injecting Chase. I guess her job is more important than living with the guilt of killing someone. But the warden is so stupid he forgets his own prison has security cameras in it, and he's caught by Dr. Weiss, one of the jury members, and later sent to the island as punishment for his crimes. We find out that Chase is actually an old woman. God, this show. And for some reason, the inmates are put into the simulation looking like the age when they committed the crime.
It's just the way we worked out the simulation.
I guess that makes sense, cause who would watch a show about a bunch of grandmas on an island killing each other? Actually, that show sounds infinitely better than this one. One of the more hilarious aspects of the show is how the writers try to justify this program being funded by the US government. Apparently, in the future, global warming has gotten so bad that the water levels have risen, causing massive crime waves. So the government now has so many criminals it needs to redeem them.
So many more people are criminals now since the water started taking the land that we have to have a way to redeem people.
Here's a solution. How about not spending billions of dollars on a simulation for 10 death row inmates and put it towards, say, renewable energy, levees, really cool hats? Dr. Weiss says that Chase will have about an hour before she sees herself in her true form, and she's thrust out into the real world. We get this shot of the real world with flying cars and giant skyscrapers, yet all the technology, items, and clothing on the island look like they're from 2019. Let's also remind ourselves that the last episode has almost no action in it. It's basically scene after scene of people talking in chairs. The final episode should be the climax. It should be where all the buildup from the previous episodes come to a head, yet the island achieves none of that. It ends in the equivalent of a wet fart. With bad acting, dialogue, plot holes, and an entire cast of unlikable characters, The Island solidifies itself as the worst show on Netflix. It pisses me off to no end that shows like the OA get cancelled, yet trash like this gets funding. With new platforms like Disney Plus and Apple Plus dropping in the next few months, Netflix will no longer be the only game in town. So you better shape up, Netflix. I'd hate for my ex-girlfriend's account I'm still secretly using for free to be shut down due to shitty content. Also, bring back the OA. Thank you for watching, everyone. Make sure to give the video a like and subscribe with the bell on. I always have new content on the way. If you happen to see this Travis Diva show, please comment below with your thoughts. You can also follow me on Twitter at ThinkStoryYT. And until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.